This workshop was organized by the University Alliance, Linking Society and Technology for Sustainable Futures. Representatives from all universities of the Alliance, academics, students, and IT experts are going to discuss on the opportunities and the challenges of distance learning in our days.
What is the new normal in distance learning in European universities? Before we address this question, we need to understand and actually assess in qualitative and quantitative terms our experience still ongoing with distance learning imposed by the pandemic.
These 9 universities have united in the mission to link as a subject, to link society and technology.
Of course, we have to have a clear view on where we want to go. That's our strategic goals. But we need to match those strategic goals with our technical agility. I mean, with our ability for our tools to adapt to the requirements of future online. And we have to clearly see if we have enough funding and enough resources.
I think that like a pilot is also learning some skills on a kind of virtual steering board. Also laboratory things can be done partly or will be done partly also on a digital basis, but not completely. I think I'm really convinced that we need both.
What should we do to work with the lack of interaction the students had in the last terms? Do we have to reflect it? Do we have to make something special now in the next months? For example, in the next term when all of them come back?
I believe that online activities will grow. Face-to-face classes will be reinvented to greater value. So we will somehow cooperate with the traditional approach.
The self-organization I already discussed. Somehow I observed this in my case as well. The amount of video calls increased exponentially. So I have, let's say, at least 8 meetings and 2 lectures per day. This is something what we should reconsider in the period when we come partly back in the office.
And then about the assessment, I think that's also kind of like developed really well, meaning that we have the continuous assessment, we have the electronic exams, we have still yet the traditional exams that are needed so that the surveillance is done as properly as it has to be done on certain exams.
We didn't know whether the exams were going to be online, whether they were going to be on person, whether they want to be in a test format, whether they were going to be on an oral format, how the exams were going to be carried out in general. And we didn't know that until like a few days, 2 days before the exams.
I definitely agree with the opinion that distance learning provides opportunity for the flexibility, and I see it on the same way. So the flexibility is something that I also appreciate as a teacher. So
we have this tremendous opportunity to make continuous innovation into the DNA of our ways of working, and I believe that the way to get there is through collaboration with students, with research, with our external partners, and through collegial learning.
The teachers was happy that finally we are out of paper, so all the documents are in digital form, and therefore it's easy to organize and easy to monitor.
But I like to talk about to share the platforms or the connections between them in this network we are building just now. I think it could be very interesting not to build one platform for everything, but use best aspects of our platforms and put them together with smart interfaces.
There are a lot of professors and lecturers that answer right away or in some normal time, and we're very grateful for that. But there's also a lot of people that just ignore our emails. And this could be solved earlier with, okay, those are the office hours, and I'm just gonna knock to the office door of my professor and ask a question if I don't get an answer to my email. But this is not an option anymore.
The digital gap, of course, is one key issue. It was a key issue and is still remaining one. So those having less competencies in handling e-learning tools and digital tools, and it's more clearly now.
The next challenge was how to examine the students during the online courses, of course, because especially we deal with cheating because we are technical universities, so students are taught to hack things and to invent things to make them easier. So I'm quite sure that they will try also to make easier the examination period. So that was a challenging thing.
One of the major advantages in distance learning settings, when audiences are so large, a few hundreds of students, is that all students, if they wish, they can take the floor. You can engage them and find out their opinions via polls, via the Q&As, via chat. And this is an excellent way. And this is really impossible when you have face-to-face lectures, because how many of them can actually real-time respond orally to your questions?
I would also say that the more content that we're creating that is digital makes it easier to actually interact with the students and to get that content. For example, when you're using the polls, then you actually send out the results of them afterwards so that the students can access them when now it pops up, when the course is over or when the class is over. And that is a great way to actually increase the content which you can, the study material.
I was fondly remembering the times when we were present at school and we could communicate with our teachers and peers, not only in our lessons or consultation hours, but really naturally when we met at halls, and we would chat about not just our profession and our education, but about basic things that are happening in this world.
In all the panels, they were extremely, how can I say, constructive.
One of the good effect we have is the internationalization of teaching. So it's very easy to engage lecturers from abroad and to bring guest lecturers in our universities, even if they are not in our countries and our cities. So we have a very good opportunity to collaborate with partner universities all over the world and in Europe.
So I think that the main message of this workshop on distance learning, that it is necessary to develop and to use distance learning also in the future. And it is necessary also to reinvent face-to-face learning to greater value.
I'm optimistic that time is coming that distance learning will not be a necessity, but a choice. And the new normal will be a much better normal.